Hey folks, Jack Spirko here with Meads of the Week, episode 6. 2 episodes in 1 week, yeah, because I missed so many weeks. I'm going to double up here and there to kind of catch up with you. Got a new mead to talk about with you today. Got some equipment, real simple stuff to talk about with you today. And then something I thought was in a prior episode, but apparently wasn't according to somebody in the comments, the coffee vanilla mead. So let's start out with the coffee vanilla mead. And this is a mead that was made on, let's see, 2/23/16. It is now in a secondary on top of 4 vanilla beans. This is a simple mead, 3 pounds of clover honey, and 1 cup of coarsely ground coffee. I put it in a coffee grinder, pulsed it till it was like cracked pepper, not falling ground like coffee. Put it in the fermenter. Used my electric kettle, as I almost inevitably always do with a batch of mead. And got that up to about 180 degrees and poured it over top of the coffee, and then used enough of that water and with the honey to get it dissolved into the bottle. I usually make sure I have at least one of the extra caps around that has not been made into an airlock so that I can shake my bottles up, get everything combined together, and then pitch the yeast. And that really was it for that. Oh, Fermax, of course. A teaspoon of Fermax went in that. That's all that is in there. The vanilla beans have been in there since, let's see, racked on for 6. So about a week. And right now, if you open this up and smell it, it's got a wonderful coffee aroma. And the vanilla is starting to really imbibe. I think I'm going to let it go for about 3 weeks on those vanilla beans, and I'll rack it off of there and get it into the bottle. This is going to be fantastic. As you can see by looking at it, it's not really a very dark coffee mead. It's not black. It's a deep, rich mahogany. It's beautiful. The coffee flavor, to me, is just right. It doesn't taste like coffee with alcohol in it. What it tastes like is mead with this coffee background. And a little taste I had with the vanilla was really, really good. Oh, I'm going to be off camera for a second. Sorry about that, but hey, we've got to sample something, and I'm getting set up and trying to finish this quick before the wife gets home so I can get everything cleaned up. This is the Meyer Lemon Mead that's been aging on oak. It's now been aging on oak for about 8 days, and let's give it a taste. It's really good. Oak is just starting to come through. I think I'm going to give that about 6 weeks on the oak infusion spiral. That's in the last episode. I talk about those, but there'll be a link to where you can get them on Amazon if you want to try them in your own efforts in today's video notes. But it's amazing how quick that comes through, way faster than oak chips. I'm a big believer in these spirals after playing with them a bit. I'm thinking in the future I might go to like a medium instead of a light toast on the oak, though, to get a little bit more richness of that in there, because there's an awful lot of acidity from the Meyer Lemon. So this is the Meyer Lemon Mead we've done in previous episodes. Cheers to you. Oh, yeah, that's going to be really good. And I have those in these 2.5 gallon jugs I get from Uline. I'll cover those in the next episode and show you how you can make fermenters out of them and use them to bottle small batch mead as well. All right, next up, what is our mead of the week this week again? Phase 2. This is orange, ginger, mint, mist. How do you like that one? Orange, ginger, mint, mist. Here's what we got going on here. 2 large organic oranges, zested, and then the flesh cut out of them and included, no rind. And then what's left, a little bit of flesh is left in the rind. Go ahead and juice that out. That way you get none of the white pith in there, none of that bitterness, but all of that orange stuff. Make sure you zest it with the zesting tool. I'll talk about that in a second. Then 2 ounces of ginger chopped up. I've done ginger sticks before. I've shown you how to do that. But in this case, chopped up small. I want a lot of ginger in there. Whenever you're imbibing herbs and spices, the finer they're chopped up, the more surface area, so the more infusion you get into them. Then, after I had the orange and the ginger into the jug, electric kettle, 180-ish, 190-ish degree water, poured on top of there. Won't that set the pectin? You get up over 160 degrees? No, because as soon as it hits there, it's going to start plunging in temperature. But you're going to keep it up above 145, 150 long enough to pasteurize it. People ask me, how do you pasteurize stuff? That's how I always do it in these small batches. It's so easy. It's why I love small batch. Electric kettle's the way to go. And got that in there. 3 pounds of orange blossom honey. How could I not use orange blossom honey with this beautiful orange mixture with ginger here? Teaspoon of Fermax. Mixed up as always. No 3 flowers blend in this one. Don't think it's going to need it. And The mint. Because you have to use so much mint, and this is actually a tea we make for breakfast, but there's a lot of mint in it. So fine, so much of it can get up in the airlock, clog it. And mint sitting in it as a dry mint for too long can make it bitter. So I did 6 tablespoons of mint to a tea when I made the kiwi mint, and I wanted more mint than that this time around. So I used 10 tablespoons of mint and made up a batch of mint tea, really strong mint tea, in my French press. Press that down, put it in there, and I only made about a half a jug. Then I did a second and a third run, so I really extracted as much mint out of there as I could. Enough additional hot water to dissolve the honey, all mixed up. We'll be pitching yeast in it. It's still a bit warm to pitch the yeast, but we'll get the yeast into it very soon. I mean, I literally just made this and then turned the camera on, so that's all ready to go. So let's talk about some of the equipment that I use, and I'll be doing more of this as we go on. This is a French press. I will put a link to this one, but I honestly probably don't recommend this one. I'm going to try a little bit better of a model. This was affordable. It works well. And the truth is we make about 6 to 8 French presses of tea a day in our mornings between Dorothy and I, because this makes about 2 cups of tea. And we drink a lot of tea throughout our day. So I've used it pretty hard, but it already is allowing some stuff to blow around it. And it has some issues that I'm not completely happy with. It also comes with some accessories that are pretty much useless. But it looked like a good product for the price. I'll put a link on it. But I'm going to be buying a new French press, and after I use it for a while, I'll tell you whether or not I want to endorse that. I mean, this I can see basically like worn off metal coating on many parts of it already, and it's only a couple months old. Now, again, I probably use it more in 2 months than most people would a year, but I'll believe in the once-in-a-lifetime purchase whenever possible philosophy. So, but a good French press, definitely recommend that if you're going to be working with loose herbs, because that way you can make infusions without including them in there. Charlie's come to say hello. Another way to do infusions, and this is just great for making tea. I'll put a link to these. I love these. This is it's a strainer basket for making tea. It sits right in a cup. I don't have a cup around here. I got a jar. So imagine that's your teacup. Bang, put your herbs in there and infuse it. With mead making, what I'll do at times is if I get some blow-by on my French press, I'll set this in my funnel when I pour it in, and that strains anything out. So it gets double duty used as a strainer. So I definitely recommend this if you're a person that drinks teas. Small batch meads, you could probably make a lot of herbal infusions with this, but with the large volumes I do, I much prefer something like a French press. A zester. If you're going to be working with citrus, lemons, limes, oranges, etc., you want a zester. There's so much flavor in that rind, and while I do make some meads with the whole rind in there, I have to rack it within about 2 to 3 weeks or you start to get too much bitterness from the pith. This will let you get all of that flavor and leave the pith behind. I'll put a link to where you can get these on Amazon. This I highly recommend. And a digital scale. I use digital scales for so much in my life. With eggs, we have like a cutoff point. If an egg looks small, we check it. And if it's too small, we won't sell it to a customer. I use it when I make meads. I use it to measure herbs amounts and things like that. It is just one of the best products you can get. And the way I use it when I'm making mead and I want to weigh my honey to make my life easy, you got a 5-pound thing of honey. The bottle weighs a certain amount. Fine, whatever. Put it on there and weigh it, and that gives you, it'll be 5.15. You want 3 pounds of honey, take it down to 2.15, and then you got 2 pounds of honey left in the jar. Mark it, 2 pounds left. And that way you're not pouring into a second container. It's a pain in the ass. So that's how I handle that. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this week's second issue of Meads of the Week. Remember, if you like this sort of thing, you'll probably like my podcast where we talk about all kinds of great stuff, like making stuff for yourself. I just put out a great video on biltong as well. I'll link in the show notes. What's biltong? You're going to have to go check the video to find out if you don't already know. But if you want to listen to my podcast, go to tsp.co, tspc.co. Again, tspc.co, and that'll send you to the survivalpodcast.com where we talk about all things self-sufficiency, self-reliance, independence, and liberty related, and an awful lot about stuff just like this. Making it for yourself, and hey, stop paying taxes to the man.